It's Around the House. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House Pro Insider Special. This is where we talk about residential remodeling construction business and how it affects that whole genre of companies out there. Doesn't matter if you're a framing contractor, a concrete guy or girl, electrician, or maybe you work in design or retail sales, this show is for you. Now today I wanted to take on something fairly personal, but I wanted to talk about it because it can happen to almost everyone. Today's a big day for me. Every day on July, 22nd, that's what it is today. This is a day that I go into big reflection time because it's probably one of the most pivotal days of my entire life. You see, 9 years ago, I ended up getting hurt. Yeah, no big deal. No, I ended up getting hauled in an ambulance off to Harborview Medical Center with about a 5% chance of making it. And if it wasn't for Dr. Evans and 4 surgeries in 2 days and about 2.5, 3 months in Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, I wouldn't be here doing the show today. And I had a year of solid recovery with a lot of help between family and friends and even strangers that helped out to get me back on track. I mean, I remember sitting there in the hospital and them talking me into walking and having to get up, and standing up took about 4 days to be able to stand up. So you can kind of see the picture of this. Well, the reason I'm telling you this story is that this type of thing can happen to anyone. And this is something I'm still working on today. Because if you're a business owner, manager, wife, husband, is your spouse ready to jump in and take over whatever you're doing or manage whatever you're doing in case of an emergency? What happens if you were incapacitated? What happens to your business? What happens to all of that? What can go on with that? What goes on? And this is something that today I'm reflecting a lot on because it's something I've got to work on. I am not doing as well as I want to be with that. So I've really got to do a lot more in preparing for something that probably won't happen. But if it did, what happens to the people around you? If you're a business owner and all of a sudden you can't go into work tomorrow and you're not there to answer questions, you're not there to unlock the front door, you're not there to keep piloting that ship, have you trained people to be behind you to do that? What happens to that passion project you have, which is called your company or business? So I want you to think a little bit about that. You know, back in the day, I was in a huge point of transition, and it was interesting. I was getting ready to move. I was going to be changing jobs, but when I went back to work, I didn't take that job back. That was months later. That company's no longer around. And I can say that I had some wonderful people I worked with there and some great friends. But I was looking at things way differently, so I decided to go a different direction. Heck, I didn't even move back to where I was moving to. I went and got healed up and then moved down to Portland, Oregon, and here I am today. So yeah, I look back at today and say, man, this is one of the best days of my life in that it changed at how I looked at things. Now, I put my friends and family through hell watching me recover. Don't get me wrong. But that is something that is, it's just something that happens when you're trying to get better. And I don't like to depend on anyone. And that's always been a struggle in my life. But that also can set up that attitude of many business owners, a problem down the road if you find yourself in that condition. Now, we saw that with COVID this last year, with business owners struggling when they get it, taking down their company maybe, with all the other business things. So I just really want to think about today, how have you set up your business or your life in case you're not around or not able to communicate for a week or two? What happens if you just picked up right now? We'll not even take this into a dark place. What happens if you picked up right now and you left your phone on the desk and your laptop there and you went off for 3 weeks on a vacation? We'll put this in a more positive spin for people. What happens to that? Will your business be going in 3 weeks, or will you have a hot mess? That's the test that you should be doing with what's going on in your world. So make sure you work on it. I know I'm going to be working on it. And it's just one of those eye-opening things that every year about this time that I start thinking about. And I know here, when I talk about this next year, I'm going to be in much better shape than I am today. And my challenge to you as a manager, business owner, family member, have you got your life set up that way as well? So that's my pledge for this next year. For a year from now, you'll hear me talking about the things that I did in the last year to get things better dialed in so that my coworkers, my team, my wife, my family have a better idea of the inner workings of what I've got going on. That way, if anything happens, I'm set. And more importantly, the people around that I love and care about are set as well. So I challenge you guys all to see if you can do the same thing, because I know there's every single person out there that's listening in their life. They're going right now, I know you're going, yeah, I could do this a little better, because there's always a little better out there for you. Well, coming up this weekend on Around the House, we have a fun show with Caroline and I. We're going to be talking about, she had a big flood in her basement. And, you know, that's one of the things that can happen to anyone. You could be in the desert Southwest. You could be on the East Coast or the West Coast. You know, on the West Coast right now, up here where I'm at, the only flood that's going to happen is going to be a pipe break, because I tell you what, we are not getting rain anytime soon. But the whole East Coast, you guys are flooding. You're just dealing with thunderstorms and rain. And so you've been fighting that for a while. Well, she was fighting that. So we go through the process of what it takes to get something cleaned up and cleaned out. So that way you've got a good base model to work with. Sometimes it's easier just to call in the pros. If it's a finished basement, let them come in and get it done right. But we're going to talk about those little things. And then hour number 2 is a fun one. So a little homework for you. Jump back to DIY Network from last night's show. You can go onto your cable provider or streaming service and look at episode 2 of season 4, I believe, of Stonehouse Revival. And we have our friends from History Attic Research coming on this weekend. And we're going to talk about old homes and the history that they're finding and how they go back into history and track down the owners, the people, the friends, and all of that were hanging out at this house, all that information that they can find on an old home. Now, you know, in my area here in the Portland metro area, it's hard to find that kind of stuff because, to be honest, most of our homes in the area were built after the 20s, and there's just not that much history to go back to. But when you get out into, the Northeast and other places across the country, there's a rich history there that has been documented, and putting that all together and packaging up with the home is really super cool. So you won't want to miss that episode. And then coming up in future weeks, we are going to be bringing back our contest. So expect to see some more giveaways coming back here in the upcoming weeks. We won't be doing it this weekend, but we're putting together some amazing stuff. It just takes a while to make sure that we can get it to you and get a fair contest put together. So this is something that we're going to start seeing more and more frequently on the Around the House, because we love giving stuff away, and we had a lot of you jump in for that April Air, wonderful filtration unit that we had there for air purifier for keeping your house clean. So we're going to keep trying to do lots of different stuff. We're talking to tool companies. We're talking to lots of different stuff out there, including home electronic stuff. So we're going to have a lot more coming your way. So stay tuned for that. All right, everybody, have a great rest of Thursday. Thanks for listening to our Pro Insider today, and make sure you listen to Around the House with Eric G. and Caroline B. this weekend on the Sun Broadcast Group or anywhere you catch podcasts. And then if you like the show, make sure if there's something that helps you, leave a review on any one of those podcast players out there that you're catching stuff on, because those reviews help us share it to other people, because the more reviews we get, the more those people lift up that stuff. So please leave a review. We'd love to see it. And we appreciate your kindness as well. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week. Happy Thursday. Thanks for listening to Around the House.